Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day to Sir Aizad. I am Addie Syafiqah binti Muhammad Mushin from 2A and today I'll be presenting about Addie model. While my partner Ungku Mazummar binti Ungku Mustafa, she'll be presenting about visual hierarchy and visual direction. So what is Addie model? Addie model is an instructional systems design framework or generic process that many instructional designers and training developers use to develop courses or mainly in e-learning websites. This is a design model used by many professional instructional designers for technology-based learning. Addie model has been almost a standard for professionally developed, high-quality distance education programs, whether print-based or online. It is also heavily used in corporate e-learning and training. So educators, instructional designers, and also training developers, they find this Addie model approach very useful because having stages clearly defined facilitates implementation of effective training tools. There are 5 phases or stages of Addie model, which are analysis, design, development, implementation, and lastly evaluation. So these phases, they represent a dynamic, flexible guideline for building effective training and performance support tools. Moving on to the first phase. So what happens in analysis phase? In the analysis phase, instructional problems are clarified, the instructional goals and objectives are established, and the learning environment and learners' existing knowledge and skills are also identified. The second one is the design phase. So the design phase deals with learning objectives, assessment instruments, exercises, content, subject matter analysis, lesson planning, and media selection. So in this design phase, it should be systematic and specific. Now, what does it mean by systematic and specific? Systematic means a logical, orderly method of identifying, developing, and evaluating a set of plan strategies targeted for attaining the project goals. While specific, on the other hand, means each element of the instructional design plan needs to be executed with attention to details. The third one is the development phase. The development phase is where the developers create and assemble the content assets that were created in the design phase. In this phase, programmers work to develop and integrate technologies, while testers perform debugging procedures. The project is also reviewed and revised for multiple times according to any feedbacks given. Next is the implementation phase. So during this implementation phase, a procedure for training the facilitators and the learners is developed. The facilitators training should cover the course curriculum, learning outcomes, method of delivery, and testing procedures. Preparation of the learners include training them on new tools, for example like software or hardware, during the students' registration. This is also the phase where the project manager ensures that the books, hands-on equipment, tools, CD-ROMs, and software are in place and that the learning application or website is functional. And lastly is the evaluation phase. So the evaluation phase consists of two parts, which are formative and summative. Formative evaluation is present in each stage of the Addie process, while summative evaluation consists of test design for domain-specific criterion-related reference items and providing opportunities for feedback from the users. So, how does Addie model functions in designing a website? Firstly, Addie model provides a proven method for designing clear and effective training programs. One of the reasons why Addie model is useful and very successful is because it is heavily associated with good quality design, clear learning objectives, carefully structured content, controlled workloads for faculty and also for the students, integrated media, relevant student activities, and lastly, assessments are strongly tied to desired learning outcomes. So here is an example of a website that uses the Addie model, which is Addie. So Addie is a mobile learning management systems or LMS that enhances corporate and retail training to make e-learning more effective, more efficient, and also fun. Addie is designed for today's digital habits, delivering engaging and effective micro lessons directly to users' devices at any time and anywhere. As for analysis, Addie's Analytics Suite allows administrators and educators to analyze where there are knowledge gaps and where the focus should shift. Initially, employers usually have an idea of what they would like their employees to know. But with EdApp's data-driven learning, they can have a better idea of what employees need to know to do their jobs better. EdApp can be a great intermediary between management and employees, as it can let them know about knowledge deficits they might have been unaware of. As for design, EdApp's micro-learning platforms align perfectly with lightweight learning management through powerful built-in tools like rapid authoring. This means that users can easily make real-time changes, feedback, and lesson data to ultimately create smarter, more relevant training materials faster. As for development, changes in an app can happen instantly. The process of receiving feedback, revision, and publishing can happen quickly. Sharing a lesson is easy as texting a preview link to someone on the team. With the course branding and custom CSS ability, a designer can make a change across whole courses at once if someone thinks of insignificant changes. Next is the implementation. The implementation in AdApp is swift and wide-ranging. By using push notifications and real pricing and also gamification, it weaves learning into the fabric of the learner's life. Admins can press publish and distribute to the right user groups or teams. An AdApp new lesson notification can strike at any moment. Lastly is evaluation. AdApp's evaluation templates allow for quantitative and qualitative feedback. While crunching the numbers is important and much easier to manage for enterprise clients, AdApp provides for the option of a text input for feedback. While much of instructional design evaluates the course itself, this allows admins to read more about the areas of concern or desires of their learners directly. So here is another example, which is a teacher's lesson plan that also uses the Addie model. And last but not least, I have prepared 3 questions regarding this topic. The first question is, what type model is Addie best described as? The second question is, which of the following is a component of the analyzed stage in the model? And the last question is, in what step do you identify your learners and their needs? So before I end this video, I would like to inform that my partner and I, we have created a short summary video regarding this topic. So we will show the video after this. So I guess that is all from me today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and have a nice day.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. I bid to my commercial web design lecturer, Syafiqah Azhari. I'm Ungku Mazummar, and in this presentation, I will be focusing on the principles of visual hierarchy and visual direction that can be applied in designing a website. Firstly, what are visual hierarchy and visual direction, and how are these models can be implemented in developing a website? For visual hierarchy, it is actually a concept in graphic design where the designers arrange all different graphic elements and create a visual order depending on their importance, being the most information the first that we saw in a website design. Next, as for the visual direction, it actually creates the illusion that there is movement within the design, or in other words, it is where a particular page exerts a visual force that attracts the eye of the viewer. Furthermore, It is also known that the average time people spend watching any design is 8 seconds. So that is why, by applying the principles of visual hierarchy and visual direction are important in developing a website, as well as structuring all elements correctly depending on their priorities to give the viewer the main information that they need. There are various principles of visual hierarchy used in developing a website. However, in this presentation, I will only be focusing on three principles, and the first main principle will be the size and scale applied in a website design. We know that the bigger something is, the better, right? Size is arguably the most effective way to emphasize visual elements. To simply put it, larger elements draw greater attention than smaller elements. For example, one of the montes here is clearly more important than the other. The larger an element is, the more likely we are to see it, moving it towards the top of the hierarchy. Elements that are not as important can be made smaller to reduce visibility and emphasis. This moves these elements towards the bottom of the visual hierarchy. Different font sizes are also often used in bodies of text to indicate significant differences, such as the headers, sections, and quotes. Secondary content, such as image captions, is usually smaller so as not to compete with the main body of text. For example, the Khan Academy website, which is an e-learning website, has also applied the concept of size and scale in their fonts. Here, we can see that they have made the fonts in the title "You Can Learn Anything" much bigger compared to the other wordings on the cover page. This is to inform and deliver an important message to the target audience that there is no limitation for them to unravel and learn about any course on the web page. It is also the precise reason why newspaper headlines appear in larger fonts, and major stories often have even larger headlines than articles on the rest of the page. In any design, larger elements, whether they be words or images, not only will be most noticeable, but they also will carry the strongest message. Next, the second principle is color and contrast. According to research done by Ferris and Zhang in the year 2016, the researchers have stated that based on the color theory, symbolism and human emotions are easily attracted to color. Also, in visual design, choosing the right colors for the web page is crucial to gain a reaction from our targeted audience. We can utilize colors to steer our visitors' emotions or respond to a call to action on our website. Color helps us to process and store images more efficiently than colorless, that is, black and white images, and this can help to increase brand recognition and help to prompt visitors to take action on our website. For example, in the poster here, dramatically contrasting colors can also emphasize specific elements on a more gentle scale. Placing a red object or word against a green or black background will draw more attention than the same red object or word on an orange or purple background. Another example is in the second poster here, where we know that it grabs far greater attention when the natural tones were highlighted to neon colors. The color scheme is known as duotone, an increasingly popular web design trend. The effect, which layers a pair of contrasting colors over a photo, lends to striking designs that figuratively pop off the page or screen. Therefore, choosing the right color scheme for our website is fundamental to attract visitors' interest and to enlighten them while scrolling through our web page. Last but not least, the third principle that I will be focusing on is the rule of thirds. In its most simplest form, the rule of thirds here refers to a 3 by 3 grid that fits on top of any image. The rule of thirds here can help us to determine where we should place important information in our design. Again, It acts as a guide to the viewer as to where they should be looking at first. The crossover between those lines is the pinpoint area where most of the user's eyes will be focusing on. So, make use of it by placing the main components such as the text or the subject within this area. Most good layouts, even photos, implement this rule to get the eye-catching results. For instance, in this screenshot here, we see a perfect use of this rule to photography and the overall homepage design. The main photo element is arranged alongside the right vertical line, while the two major design elements such as the text and the buttons are placed into the left focal points. Besides, the studies have revealed that for each point of intersection draws attention differently. The eye path usually starts from up to down and then from left to right, similarly to the capital F shape. Thus, the main attention will be fixed on the upper left point of intersection and then move on to the bottom left part. So, it's the best place to arrange the logo of the site, important info about the owner, or some essential navigation buttons at the upper left point of the intersection. Various plugins and widgets will also be more visible if it placed closer to the points of intersection. Another example is the Posterista homepage here, where it places the call to action button right at the upper left intersection, which exerts the most attention to the audience, while the three other call to action blocks are arranged alongside the bottom line. For others, the use of the rule of thirds may help in creating stunning layouts that raise conversions and attract visitors to stay with the website. Applying the rule of thirds based grid to the layout may help the designer to find out where the accents should be arranged and what elements are better to place onto that grid. In summary, implementing visual hierarchy and visual direction principles such as size and scale, color theory, and also the rule of thirds are necessary as it helps to establish each element in its rightful place and help the most important elements to stand out in a website design. On top of that, it is also a valuable tool in establishing clear navigation and allows certain elements to dominate on the web page as well as to enhancing user experience while browsing through our content on the website. These are the exercises that I have prepared for the visual hierarchy and visual direction principle. And this is the answer for the question number 1. And these are the key answers for the question number 2 and 3. And here are the list of references that I have referred to in preparing my oral presentation for visual hierarchy and visual direction theory. And at the end of this video, I have attached together the infographic about the different elements and principles of visual hierarchy and visual direction theory. And that is all from me. Thank you.